Hello everyone, welcome to Sniper Sundays. I hope you're all well, having a good weekend, doing as much as you can if you are in self-isolation. Hopefully you've been looking at the charts, learning, educating, trying to do as much as possible so that we are ready and ahead for next week. So as usual, Sniper Sunday is going to go over everything that we can see, sort of what's been happening towards the end of last week, and also what we're looking out for the week ahead. So we'll just quickly start with the fundamentals as usual. We've not got the busiest week, so remember it is the aftermath of non-farm payroll from Friday, which we saw very little movement from. So when I say aftermath, there isn't really as much dust to settle because there wasn't really much movement. But always remember that it is that Mondays after non-farm payroll can always be a tricky time in the market. So though we were actively looking for trades on Friday, because there might have been that increased movement that we're expecting on the US dollar, as you can see the dollar index here. Normally for a vast majority of traders, not so much retail, but they should, don't actually trade on non-farm payroll. It's not always a great day to trade. It's the end of the week. It's a Friday, which we know is not always great and can be manipulative, but also non-farm payroll can be highly manipulative, and we see things happening in the market that are just basically a bit of a false move. So yeah, so it is Monday, so we have to see how Monday starts. Quite interested to see how the market opens over the weekend as usual. Got a good plan of action for us this week, but we will have to see how the market opens and how it reacts first off. So what I explain on Sniper Sundays may differ slightly on Monday, because remember, Monday can always be a funny day. So, but an overall, we should see it follow suit as we normally do. It follows according to my analysis 99% of the time from Sniper Sunday. So let's have a look at where we're at. Monday, we've got a little bit of Canadian dollar news. The Bank of Canada speaking. We've got Aussie dollar news on Tuesday morning. Early one for those in the UK. But that's during the Asian session. We've got OPEC meeting on Wednesday, which will be regarding oil, the output of oil and the production of oil. Thursday, we have ECB, European Central Bank discussions there. Then we've got Canadian dollar employment and unemployment rate, which will be coming out on Thursday. So that's big for the Canadian dollar. And then Friday, we got some US dollar news. So nothing too major. We got that's the standard sort of news during the week. And then, of course, we have the news that can hit the market at any time during the week regarding the coronavirus. As you saw last week with Trump when he tweeted about oil, a rumor that they may cut production. Things like that can hit the market at any time. So let's just start off and see where we're at. So the US dollar, we saw that we had a big tweezer top formation, a big bearish candle, massive bearish candle on a weekly. As I said, you would nearly always expect to see a follow through on this candle. Maybe not straight away, because the next candle could be a retracement, but then you would expect to see a follow through, especially when you have a tweezer top like this, a bearish engulfing. See how this candle has actually engulfed the previous candle. So bearish engulfing, the sellers completely took over the buyers on the following week, but now the buyers have stepped back in, but they haven't been able to pull all the way back up. We sort of hit this monthly resistance, and we sort of retrace about 50% of the move, which it still shows that the bears could step back in and take this down. So very important to watch, because obviously we're monitoring the US dollar here, and if we can understand what the US dollar is doing, we can understand what a vast majority of the rest of the market is doing. So we'll drop down to lower time frames. We'll be watching this. Now, I've explained quite a few times or situations that can happen after non-farm payroll. And what we can often see is we had a run up. The market was priced in since last Monday. So this was last Friday's bearish candle. As you can see, hardly any wick at the bottom. And then what happened? Market opened, and which might happen again this week. So we might need to be on our toes, sort of thing, as soon as the market opens. So what you can see here is a bullish push here straight away, and then we just continued all the way back up for the rest of the week. We had one day that looked like it was going to turn back bearish, turned out to be a false flag, and then we continued pushing up higher. So what I expect and what happens a lot of the time on non-farm payroll is just how I explained it last month on non-farm payroll, and it done the exact thing over the next couple of days. So on Monday, I'm expecting to see continuation of this push. So people buy into the market, possibly even Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we have the real move where we start to push back down, Tuesday or Wednesday. So what we could be seeing here, if this does play out, is a retracement here. We're back up to the 50% level already, up to the 61.8%, and then we could have a sell-off. So we could trigger a sell-off from around this level, between the 78, sort of 61.8% of retracement, which then means that all US dollar pairs can continue their push down lower before seeing a reversal. If it's a pair like Euro USD or Aussie dollar US dollar, obviously not the US dollar pair first. So yeah, it looks like that could be the potential setup. So we'll be watching out for how price reacts as it gets towards this 61.8% retracement. But as I said, we have to watch that the market doesn't make a quick move straight away on Monday, so we might have to look at trying to jump in. So come to Euro USD, Euro US dollar now. I'll just clear this for the minute. We can see Euro US dollar. We broke through this sort of level here, this level of support, which was 1.0900, as you can see on the right of the chart. And we broke through that clean. We didn't even come back for a retest here, as you can see on the daily. That's sort of around significant level. You can see it acted as a daily support here. Broke straight through, no comeback for a retest just yet. And we come straight down into this very, very, very interesting level. Sorry about that, guys. Let me just quit that. This very, very, very interesting level here, which is obviously a previous daily support, which could come down now, is acting as a daily support once again, as we can see on Friday. And if this continues to hold, this could be a turning point for Euro USD to have that large push up higher. So this is sort of a pinnacle area for Euro USD at the moment. We have to see what the market's going to do on Monday and what the US dollar is going to do Monday, Tuesday. If this level should hold, then we can see a big run to the upside, and we want to be looking for longs in Euro USD. We can see a nice big push back up to the previous high and onwards. But this area is pinnacle. If this should break, then this bearish push can continue down lower. So then we have to scrap plans for that, and then we could look at taking shorts. So this is a very, very important level for Euro USD. It's either going to go one way or the other from here. I know it sounds like sort of calling two scenarios on one pair, but it's not. What I'm explaining is this is the level where we want to watch out for. If this holds, then this is a great buying opportunity from around these levels. But then, as I said, if this breaks, then this becomes the new resistance, and this becomes great selling opportunities. Because should that break, then I think we're going to have a fast sell-off and take out that low and come down even lower. Now, as I said last week, I was expecting to sort of establish a resistance here, which this is the only thing that makes me think that there could be a possibility of a breakdown to the downside here, because we don't really have time to establish a daily resistance here. We sort of hit this on the Friday, and we just turned on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we came straight down. So we never really established a resistance here. We never really came up to, let me change this color. We never really hit this level, hit a resistance, formed the resistance, formed the daily level, and then turned. We just sort of turned straight away. So I feel like price could continue to push up higher, to run into this region and higher, to form that daily resistance that it didn't really manage to find. See, we kind of turned midway here. But that's why, given that the fast turnaround, this could come down lower. But what I am expecting here, what my favorite bias is, or my favorable bias is to find some support from around this level. Because here we can see that on the daily, we can see that this would be a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. So should this right shoulder hold, and we have an inverse head and shoulders on the daily, this could send this flying very, very high, take out this high, form a resistance, and then we could possibly see a sort of situation where I would expect to come up, take out this high, form a resistance, then we would see a pullback down, but then it would just be in order to continue up higher. So that's my sort of bias on Euro USD. But as I said, like on the US dollar that I just showed you, I do expect perhaps to see a bit of an extension on this move, and maybe not pull away just yet, and sort of dip into this level a little bit lower, bring in maybe sellers on Monday, and then have the push around, push back up to the upside on Tuesday. Now also, if I just go to the daily chart to make this nice and clean, just stretch this out, you can also see that we've got this retracement here, and we're coming towards the 78% level. So this region is quite interesting for Euro USD. So monitoring around here could be really nice long trade from here. Euro GBP. So basically, what I can see on the charts happening, guys, from analyzing is I can see a little bit of a continuation of a sell-off on Euro, perhaps at this on the first day or so, and then maybe we can look for those longs. So if I just go to Euro GBP, I'll show you why as well. So we are all aware, especially the ones who managed to join the morning call, the live morning call, where we were live for 3 hours on Friday. We were watching this very closely, waiting for a trade. Then out of nowhere, bang, move up to the upside. So making high highs, high lows, high highs. But I'm still expecting this to easily come back down and retest this area of support before looking at going higher. So this is the area that we were watching on Friday. We do have the opportunity, the possibility of coming back down to sort of retest this pin bar here, which will cause that left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder on the 4-hour chart. But what I'm definitely expecting is on Monday, Tuesday, is to pull back down to that level where we will be looking for longs. Now, ideally, I'd like to come back into this region because that will make the risk reward even better. So I'm going to be watching out for this. I think we could come down and test this level again. Easily done at the start of the week. And from here, if this level holds, we could have a nice trade on here. Where are we? We might need, because it's quite a bit of a swing trade, this one, we might have a slightly larger stop, sort of similar to where we are at the moment. But then I think that we could see this pulling all the way back up to possibly even 0.9100. Yeah, but we could still push down lower. So I just want to see. I want this area to be held as support, but I do think we can see a push back up here, 0.8900, 0.900 possibly. But we sort of want this area of support to be tested and confirm that it's actually going to hold. We've had one bullish push, doesn't mean that the market's changing. As you can see here, bullish push from here, sell off, bullish push, sell off, bullish push, sell off. So we want this area to hold. So even though we came back up, we didn't get our retest on Friday, continued to push up higher. You can see we're pulling back down. I wasn't going to jump on a moving trade, not even really a trade because there's barely a move has started yet. Because as always, we want to see a pullback from these levels, and then we want to see if we can get the entry and the right risk reward, and hopefully see a nice setup where we can take a really nice long with great risk reward. So we're waiting for the confirmation. We're waiting to come back, retest this level as support. So at the start of the week, I'm expecting to see a little nudge back down, and then perhaps push back lower. But pound, the GBP pair looks like it could possibly gain some strength as well. So this is why I am happy to wait for this, or possibly even wait for the 0.8700 level to be hit, which will make another new lower low before taking off and making the higher high. Because I do see that there is possible strength on the pound. So I'll come to that in a minute. Now Euro AUD, there's a lot here. It's quite confusing because there's the reason being is because it's quite choppy. So here we can see, if I just go to the daily chart, see if this can make it a bit clearer to begin with. Daily, so last week I was expecting this to make a push up higher. I explained I was waiting for a push lower before taking a long back up. Long back up before then, remember, if you go back to last week's short, medium and long term, the short term has happened, that push down. Now we're looking for that medium term push back up to the upside before the long term short back down. Now, we can see here that you can just see there on the daily, that last week was quite choppy. It didn't really do too much in and around that level or that area. You can see here, it came down, kept hitting this support, tapped it on Friday, support, but daily candle still trading within the previous daily candle, pin bar the day before. So not massively helping with the decision on what direction this can take next. Now, what we can see here is we do have this this triangle formation, the 4-hour and the 1 hour. Now, at the moment, as I said, medium term, I favor this pushing back up to the upside. However, as we are sitting at around this 1.800 resistance level and this 4-hour stroke 1 hour triangle formation, I think that we may still get one more push down, as I said, euro pairs to have that little push down at the start of the week. If we could tap into this region again, it would be perfect for a long. We can tap into this level, as you can see highlighted, that price is sort of support. Stretch this out. Here we can see spike through, but found the support again. If we come back into there, that would give a great risk reward and a great long sort of entry to trade this back up. So yeah, I think that as we are hitting our heads on a bit of resistance here, that we could just push down, but we also do have this, as you can see, this trend line 0.1, 0.2, and we could come up for a 0.3 first. This is going to be interesting for this pair. We could come up here, tap that, maybe make a move lower before making a move up. It may chop and change from the start of the week, but as I said, we have to remember the bigger picture is that whatever the scenario happens at the start of the week, we're looking for the move up and then the longer move down, which could be end of the week or next week. But at the moment, I'm expecting a slight pullback from this sort of region here, where I want to ideally then look at long trades. If this will break down and break from here, then possibly not. I have to assess it from that time. But I've highlighted this because we can see that this level here is actually on the 4-hour chart. It's actually the last lower high. You can see here, lower low, lower high. This area could create the lower low, but we have this area is sort of a lower. Well, this is actually a bit of a lower high here as well. As you can see here, but we haven't really been able to make a lower low, so this is why it's going to get a bit tricky. Because you can see here, we've made a lower low, just about. The body came below here, below this level here. We've got some spikes here. Haven't been able to come back up and make a new lower, a swing lower high. We sort of just come up and just been within this range at the moment. So I think we could break out of this sort of range here. Just visually, I'll just show you. So we could break out of that range to make a proper swing lower high, and then we can have the push to the downside. So I'm expecting more upside from this pair. But as you can see there, it's quite choppy. It's quite confusing in and around that level. So we need to sort of wait for price to show us a little something to be able to latch on to and take a trade. So hopefully we can see a push into this level, see this area act as support, and we can see that run up back up to the upside. Euro NZD is a sort of similar situation, like I just explained. This resistance, this wick here, I think we could push up into that region. But again, we've got this sort of level here. We've got support. We're pushing up. We're about to run into 18500. If we can see a pullback from this trend line, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, pushing down. If we see a pullback from there, we could push back into this level of support, which would also be 0.1, 0.2 of this 0.3 of this triangle formation. And then we could see a nice push back up to the upside, possibly up to this level, maybe even long term, even higher, before that longer term big sell-off that we're going to be watching out for. So yeah, again, euro maybe early on Monday with all these pairs, euro NZD, euro AUD, looking for a little push back down first. Euro GBP, we're looking for a push back down into this level at least first. And euro USD, we're looking for this to slightly extend its push down before looking at taking a trade. So we're sort of expecting hopefully a little bit of weakness on euro pairs to begin with. However, I'm just looking at euro JPY. So euro JPY, I actually had this area highlighted out here, but looking on the bigger picture as I'm analyzing this pair, we can see that we've got this sort of weekly support level here that we have hit once before, but we look like, given that we've had this bearish week here, bearish engulfing candle, you see that the bears are sort of in control at the moment, so short to in control. I can see price coming into this level, testing these lows, possibly taking out this low, coming down to tap this previous low as well. You see, it's not actually too far away. This price here of this previous low is 115.87, and we're currently trading around 117. So another 100 pip to the move to the downside, I think, is possible. So what I'm watching out for here is that price is making a little bit of a move to the upside, just finding some sort of support. Is a possible left shoulder, head, right shoulder. But I'm going to be watching price as it reaches this outer level here to see if it can break, which may mean that the bulls could step in. But while we're trading below this, and if we reject this level, there could be a nice little intraday short trade down into that region, where I will then be looking for an overall long trade which would be a swing trade up. So that's the sort of scenario I'm looking out for. Again, looking to see if we can have early euro weakness before pushing back up higher long term. Now, GBP USD. So GBP pairs didn't really see much from some of these GBP pairs until Friday, where we were actually watching it very, very closely on Friday to take a trade on 2 pairs. But I think that it's too early to be looking at the sell-off on this just yet. I did think that we were going to see a sell-off, but at the start of the week, I think we could see another little push back up from here, back up to try to test these highs, maybe even make a new high, like I mentioned with Euro GBP, maybe even make a new low with the pound strength. So I'm expecting to see pound just to bounce off these levels. I think too many people may have jumped in a short here, hoping to see a short trade down. I don't think it's time just yet because we haven't really done a lot. If we just go to the daily chart, we sort of just hung around all week, and then we had a daily bearish candle on Friday, as you can see here. But however, it's just run straight into weekly support 1.2250. So it doesn't look very, very bearish right now. If you look on the daily chart, we've got bullish, 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 move sideways, 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 bit of a bearish candle, but pull back up at the end of the day. So I think people may be getting caught out early, trying to short this early, especially where the pound is still quite bullish at the moment. So this is why, again, Euro GBP was just waiting for this and just watching this one a little bit further. I think, so when we were doing the live on Friday morning, we saw this breakout, but we were waiting for a pullback. I think actually on the 1 hour chart, we had this breakout here. Wasn't the most strongest, bit of a wick at the bottom. So expecting to see a pullback before we could look at taking that short, because obviously we were looking at taking short on GBP, JPY as well. So the two go sort of hand in hand a little bit, obviously being a pound pair. So we were looking for the pound to sell off across the board, GBP, JPY, GBP, USD, and Euro GBP on Friday. However, now that we've had that push down on Friday, we couldn't get that trade because it didn't have the pullback in order to allow us to take a nice risk reward. Here, taking a trade here is just sort of suicidal at times. Obviously, it worked out in this case, but should that pop back up to find resistance, then you're going to hit stop loss. So we broke out of this triangle formation, come down, and we've now hit the sort of first area of support, which on this move up, we've got higher high, higher low, and we come back and we tap that now for the first time. So it looks like we're going to find some support. I think that price can push up from here and come back up to possibly even towards the top of these highs. And as you can see, I think we'll just find some support here. So I think we can see a push back up from these levels, back up to maybe even the top of the highs, maybe the top of this resistance here, have a fake out, try and break out. Or worst case, what I'm expecting is at least to see a bit of a retracement. Now again, we may just see this slightly extend on Monday down to the downside, but then you can see here, if we could come down, maybe tap into where this could become support, we could have a bounce off this area of support. We could come down slightly lower, but then I'd expect a retracement, even a push back up, but at least a retracement up into sort of this region before then seeing the bigger sell-off. You can see here the 61.8% lining up there. So these is what you can do with Fibonacci, to sort of use the tool to sort of try and help you tell the future and imagine what could happen next. But yeah, overall, I'm looking for a push back up on GBP USD higher before moving down lower. Same as GBP JPY. Now, we didn't catch the short on this, even though we were watching it on Friday. And we'll just run over that again, why. So it had sort of the level that I had marked out from the evening call, 113 sort of 80 up to 113 450. This whole area was an area where we were going to be looking at taking shorts because we had this triple top area. We did hit this in the Asian session. So what we were waiting for on the London session was literally price just to bounce off here that it looked like it was going to do. Pushed down, rejection, 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 rejection. We spiked up. We just wanted this to come up a bit higher. Marked out on the morning call, maybe a third touch here would have been an ideal place for us to look at taking a short, but it didn't come and we actually just broke down. However, This breakdown initially came down. We found support sort of straight away, which was only about 30 or 40 pips away from this push. And then we eventually managed to break that and come down a little bit lower. However, at the end of the day, you can see the last 4-hour candle start to push up at the end of the day. I started to push back up. Now, if we just take a look at the bigger picture again here, GBP, JPY, we can see here that, again, all week it didn't really do too much. So if I just adjust this, let me get rid of that actually for the moment. You can see here we just moved sideways all week. What seemed to be a bit of a sell-off on Friday turned out to sort of be a bit of a weak sell-off as we started to push back up. Now, again, I think we can see another push back up to the upside still on GBP, JPY. I'll be looking for us to come up and tap that, have that third tap of the trend line still. If we see it there, then we could see a sell-off. But right now, I would even possibly be looking at a further rejection of this level on the start of the week. Could possibly even be looking at maybe a little intraday trade up as well. Excuse me, guys. That's just an idea. But basically, what I'm explaining is before any sell-off, I'm still expecting a bit more upside here. Another test, another push to the upside. So I'll be waiting and watching out for that, and we'll see how that goes at the start of the week. GBP AUD, as explained, I've been liking this pair to come up higher. Aussie dollar looks like it can still see a bit more weakness. Australian dollar looks like it can have a bit more weakness, especially with this pound strength that I'm saying that I can see happening at the start of the week. That would also help take this up higher. So we sort of like, it's been choppy, very, very choppy here. Big spikes here. We've broken up above this resistance, come up. We mentioned that we might be looking at taking a long trade on this support, find a support. Good job that we didn't, because we had this massive spike down. Then we just moved sideways, pushed up, and we're sort of holding this as support. If this could hold, there could be a nice trade up to the upside. And we could even come up and tap this higher level up here, as I mentioned before, and maybe even higher with GBP AUD. So it's on the watch list, but I'd like it to sort of make it a little bit for a bit of an intraday or swing trade to pull back a little bit more, give a little bit more of an entry, just line things up a little bit more. When you're in and around these levels, quite choppy, and you've got wild movements. If we have a bigger pullback, we can have a better stop loss in here when it's quite choppy. That's where you can find sort of an area where you can find this sort of situation where it can spike down. You're trying to put your stop below the last low and so on. You kind of want to wait for peaks and troughs, highs and lows. So then you can, for instance, if we come down to here and come back out to here, gives us a better opportunity and a better trade where we could then take a trade where we then have our stop loss set and we're not in amongst the noise and sort of in the scalping sort of area and zone. USD JPY, finding support this week, support, having a push up to the upside. I mentioned on this about 2 weeks ago on Sniper Sundays that I was expecting a push back down in USD JPY, and we had it last week. However, still haven't really hit the 50% fib. I still think that there's more downside on this to come down to sort of the 106, 10500 region. We've had a bearish push, so obviously that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to turn back up straight away. Bearish push here needs to have a bit of consolidation, needs to have a bit of a retracement, have a bit of a breather on that push, on this push down. So I think that I'm going to be watching price here. I think we could possibly have a little push up higher. I'm going to be watching this resistance area as well, quite interesting. If this can hold, then we can look at maybe taking an intraday short down. Short down into, not even intraday, a bit of a swing trade short down. But I do think that we can see a little bit more strength. Remember, US dollar just continued that push up at the start of the week. So we could see this push up a bit higher, and then we could see a push down. So where we might actually see a better risk reward and a better trade on the cards there. So that's what I'm looking for USD JPY. USD CAD, we all know about USD CAD from last week, 140, 50 pips in profit. This thing was jumping around all over the place. To be honest, it's a difficult one to call right now. Originally, I did from down at these lows. This is the 4 hour on Sniper Sundays last week. Said that we would be looking for a trade on USD CAD a long trade back up to the highs. I said this could even possibly take out the previous highs and make a new high. Then I think it was on Monday morning, it literally just started moving straight away. So this is what we have to see, bear in mind for this week. I think it started moving straight away. Didn't give us a chance to enter. This was literally, you can see here, so this is the market open, bit of a gap. Asian session, done nothing. Pushed down at the start of London, pushed up, bullish engulfing, and then just kept going. And we were in Monday, I think Monday evening or whatever it was, I was explaining if we could just get a pullback, we'd look at taking a long trade on this. If we get a pullback into sort of this region, we could get a nice long, but it just never came. This is what price action has been doing. So it kept going higher. Then we started to see possible entries for a short trade. As you can see here, triangle formation. We did take that short trade, 140 pips, 50 pips in profit, came back, and then it's just been bouncing around. Now remember, before this triangle formation even formed, I could see it coming, and this is something that you should learn. I mentioned that I believe it was when we first took the short that we could potentially see this triangle formation forming, because we could see that price was getting choppy. So when price is getting choppy, it means it's going to start bouncing around and a triangle formation is going to start forming. So here now we can see we had another rejection to the downside. At the moment, it still looks bullish to the upside. I still think we can still push up higher, come up and take out this last lower high. Hasn't been able to make a new lower low, so we could come up and test this sort of level first. At the moment, we're making higher highs, higher lows. Haven't been able to make a new higher high. So I do think that price can come out of here and come up into this region to show us what it wants to do. Is it going to reject this level and make a new an equal higher low? An equal lower high, or is it going to break this and make a new higher high on this 1 hour or 1 hour, 4 hour trend, and then continue up higher? So this is going to be a very important level. At the moment, I don't want to get caught out trying to call the market. We're smack bang in the middle of a triangle formation. Another break fake out to the downside could possibly open up potential for a long trade, and vice versa. So we'll see what happens there. Aussie dollar, US dollar. Again, not really seeming to be able to find a concrete sort of resistance area. We sort of pushed up. We've got a bit of a resistance here. We're starting to push down now. However, bearish. I don't think this is going to turn around just yet. I'm looking at about 50% retracement level, 50% to give us enough of a pullback to then to help it give it that push back up to the upside and get Aussie dollar away from these lows that it's been in for quite some time. Weekly, we can see we've had a bit of a retracement on this bullish candle here, bullish engulfing, shows that the bulls are stepping in. Bit of a weak bearish week to push back down, but again, if the US dollar can continue to strength at the start of the week, then we can see another nudge down early in the week, down to this level, and then we can look at potential long trades from around here. Similar situation of Aussie dollar CAD, the sort of 50 to 61% retracement level is where we're going to be watching out for potential longs. But with this, we have to also remember the oil situation at the moment. Oil is gaining strength at the moment, so helping the Canadian dollar gain strength as well. This is where USD CAD is choppy. We've got a strong US dollar, we've got a strong Canadian dollar because of the oil. So it's kind of just doesn't know which way it's going to go, and it's going to explode in either direction. Bias would say that we're going to see an explosion back up higher into this region here before the overall short. So favouring longs on the USD CAD at the moment, but we'll see. So we have to see what the oil does. We could see a push, a fake out to the downside first. It's really one that we're just going to have to monitor. Same as Aussie dollar CAD, as I said, we have to see if it pushes down and how we're going to act between this 50 and 61.8%. If we can hold there, then we can see a nice swing trade on Aussie dollar CAD back up to the upside if the Aussie dollar strength can come in. We've got Aussie dollar news in the middle of the week. NZD USD, again, very similar to Aussie dollar pairs. Sorry about that. Having a pullback from the push up that we had. Now we want to see if this can actually hold as support. We've broken through 0.5900 quite cleanly. Expecting this to continue to push down into sort of this region. We do have this Fibonacci. We're touching the set for 38. I would like to see a push that back down to the 50s or 61.8%. Stronger retracement levels, better risk reward levels. For instance, if you take a long from here, there's no real idea where you can put your stop loss. So really you want to have quite a wide stop loss. But however, we can push down all the way into these regions. We can have a nice short stop loss and a nice bigger reward. So that's what we're watching out for on NZD USD. US oil, not a lot technically on this because it had that massive drop. So just looking at recent price action, we've got this daily trend line that we're going to come back up and retest shortly. So I do see a little bit more upside now that we've broken this last low or high here on Friday. We spiked it, came down, broke above, haven't retested, coming up to an area of resistance here, but I think we can come up here and test this trend line out here at least. So that's looking up around the $32 per barrel region. So that could mean early strength for the Canadian dollar at the start of the week, which would help see possibly Aussie dollar CAD push down lower into that region. Could also help USD CAD break back lower, have a fake out to the downside before us looking at taking a long back up. We shall see. So yeah, oil, just watching it at the moment at these levels, thinking that we have some more upside. Coming to an area of resistance, haven't really pulled back down. It would be nice if this did pull back down, we could possibly see a trade from there. But at the moment, it's moved quite fast, so there's nothing really on it there for us at the moment. See that clean breakthrough and continuation. So we're about to come into an area of resistance, $30 a barrel. I'll just move this to that round significant level may come into play. So we might tap that to see support. We might tap that, pull back down, and then push up. However, even though we've seen quite bullish, we know overall we are bearish on oil still. It's still very weak. So we could even see a nice sort of from around these regions, could be a really nice opportunity to take a short trade on this back down. We'll see. We could come back down and then take a long, or this could completely crumble and take a short and come all the way back down lower. That's why it's always good to take trades and hedge trades. So for instance, we could take a trade here, and then if we do see a long opportunity, we could long it back up. But then, as I said, we can hold some of our position, take some profit, let it run, and if this could then collapses, which could easily happen with oil, we could see a very fast sell-off. So yeah, watching this is the sort of area which is going to be interesting for oil as we come up to this trend line, come up to that $30 a barrel region. So we'll be watching this to extend its push up from Friday. And then we come to gold. So gold. So last week we've been expecting gold to sort of push back down to the 1600 level to look at taking a long trade. So I'll just show you what I'm looking at the moment on gold. You can see we've got this trend line from the top, 0.1, 0.2, and we just had 0.3 on Friday. We're struggling to break through at the moment. This is the sort of setup that we had on last week. So we were around these levels, had a bit of a range here on Friday, waiting for it to push back down into this region so we can take it long. However, I wouldn't even be against a short trade down, possibly at the start of the week. We'll see what gold does on open. Remember the aftermath of non-farm payroll, but there is still even a nice opportunity, possibly taking a short trade down on gold. And with gold, we can sort of do whatever it wants. So again, taking a trade like this, if we came down and hit target, we take 50% profit, leave the other 50% to run, because this could continue down even lower. But at the moment, we've got a nice sort of setup there where we can have a left shoulder, a head, and a nice right shoulder. We are rejecting this third point of this trend line at the moment. This area of resistance that we've hit, we can see we've got resistance here, finishing on Friday. So we might see a nice little opportunity to take intraday down. And yeah, we could possibly look at aiming to come down to this level first. And then if that level breaks, then we've got various other supports to look for. But down here, it said if this then holds, we could be then looking at the hedge trade, a long trade back up, which I think longer term could have really nice upside potential. So there's a few options there, but that's what I'm looking at. I do like this area. I'll be watching that on market open to see how this reacts and see is there a possible move to the downside. Let's have a look here. We can also see it's tapping at 61.8% retracement level, so we can see a nice push down. Could even come down lower. So we'll hold that and see. that's about it, guys. That's what I'm looking for at the start of the week. Anyway, we not understand what we're looking for. Quite a few trading opportunities. Gold we got here. Oil could be very nice. Euro USD, we're looking for the overall long trade. Same as Euro GBP. Euro AD, Euro NZD, we need to watch at the start of the week a little bit more. But again, we're looking at medium term long trades after seeing a little pullback at the start of the week. Euro JPY, we need to monitor that one a little bit more. Pound pairs, we're looking at some bullishness to start the week off to come back up into sort of the highs, maybe retest the resistance, and then we could be looking at a sell off on those pairs. USD JPY is an interesting one as well. We could be looking at a short trade there. We see more downside on that, but again, like most pairs, just having a sort of false move at the start of the week to continue last week's move. So continuing a little push up to the upside. USD CAD is one we have to monitor because of the choppiness here, but we're favoring longs. Aussie dollar pairs, we're expecting to see a further decline before the overall long trades, the same as NZD USD as well. So that covers up quite a bit of the market. There, what we're looking out for this week. And yeah, so looking forward to the week. So hope that helps. Hope that gives you a good overall view of the market for this week and what we can expect. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. We'll update the group on what we're going to be doing for live and so on this week as well. So yeah, looking forward to doing some more of those. Friday morning's live was really good. The live morning call while the market was live and moving. So if you like things like that, drop me a line, let me know, and I'll speak to you soon. We'll see what happens on market open. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see what, as I said, what market open does. Thank you.